Hi, welcome to Nikki's channel, Nikki's Creepy Stories. I'm going to be reading to you two stories. If you like my channel, please press the like button, and I hope you like them. Thank you. This is called Something Went, I Think Something's Wrong. My sister was in her bedroom, on her bed, holding a teddy bear, crying. Then she held her head up with tears in her eyes, and she said, "I think something is wrong with me." Then I thought I remember hugging my sister and cheering her up. Then I woke up and looked around for my sister, but I didn't find her anywhere. I even went up in the attic steps with a flashlight. When I got up in the attic, with my flashlight, I shined it all around the attic, and all I saw was an old boxes. Went through every old box in the attic, and when I went through all of my family old pics, there was no pics at all our old family anywhere of my little sister. So then I go down the attic steps with my flashlight in the other hand, and when I got down the attic steps, I go into the living room to find my mother looking outside at the stormy night. Then my mother turned her head around and she started to cry tears of blood. Then she showed me a pic of a grave of a baby girl that had died from birth. Then my father came into the living room and said to me, "Your baby sister had died from birth because she was pregnant with both of you and at the same time, and you took most of the space in your mother's belly, and you're the only one that were born. Your sister had died in your his sister had died in your belly when your sister had died, come out in your mother's belly, she was already dead." Then the pic of your sister's gravesite, my pic of my sister's gravesite, it took me right to the gravesite, and then I just stood there looking at my little sister's gravesite. Then I thought I saw an evil spirit dressed in all black with yellow eyes, standing next to my little sister's gravesite, holding a shovel with blood dripping down from it. When I walked over to her gravesite, the evil spirit, all dressed in black with yellow eyes, and had a shovel out of the evil spirit's hand, and it first went on the ground next to my dead sister's gravesite. Then but then it was gone, and my hand was blood all over them. I started to run really fast, but because I started it to storm, then I started to hear my dead sister's whispers. Then I ran. Even faster until I could not run any more. Then I saw my little sister's spirit. She she was near the tree with her teddy bear, crying, and I said to Hi there, I know you're scared, but maybe we can help. I can help. Then the spirit of my dead sister said to me, I think something's wrong with you because whoever you are not my big brother. You are a killer with a shovel. And then I looked down at my clothes, and they were dirty, all dirty, and bloody. And I looked at in one of my hands, and there was the bloody shovel. Then I then my dead little sister said to me, "Leave me alone. I already see you in the afterlife." Then my dead sister's spirit was gone back into her gravesite. Then I started to run. He started to hear yelling coming over to my dead sister's gravesite. Then a whole lot of town people said there he was a evil gravedigger. And then I said to the townspeople, I'm not the evil gravedigger. I'm a teen boy named Josh. Then they didn't believe me because I had everything the evil gravedigger had on, even his shovel. So the next time I woke up, I was being buried alive. Then the next thing you know, I hear my mother's voice, wake up, sweetie. You're having a nightmare. Then woke then I have woken up and shaking with fear. I asked my mother, did I ever have a little sister? And she shook her head. No, you know, sweetie, you're my only one and only boy, because your dad left us when you were little. Is everything okay? And I said, yes, Mom, everything is okay. Then she left the bedroom, and she had knocked at. Knocked at the front door. The teen boy's mother opened the front door, and on the front doorstep was a big teddy bear, and the box with a bow on it. The mother opened the box. Inside the box was an old family pic of his little sister. So what does his mother do? She throws it away and trash in the trash can and sets it on fire. Then she takes the big teddy bear berries and bury it in the backyard. And the reason she did that is because she didn't want her son to know that his little sister is alive, and she's just living with her dad and his new wife. So the teen boy's mother wants to make sure him look like he does not know what he's talking about. Then the teen boy said to his mom, "Is there anybody at the front door?" Then his mother said, "No, sweetie, there's nobody at the front door." She just, she, as she said, thought through the outside of my bedroom door, as I could not really hear what she said. She said to me outside my bedroom door. Then she said, "Never mind, sweetie," as she gave a creepy smile. As I came out of my bedroom, I go over to my best friend's house for a while. "Okay, Mom?" Then his mom said, "Okay, sweetie." Then her teen boy son left with his friend's house, but his best friend's next door neighbor's house is my father's new house, where my sister and my dad and his new wife live. Then my friend told me his next door neighbor goes to work late and comes to his house the next day, and his little girl had a teddy bear, but his parents gave it away. Then, while I was having a sleepover at my best friend's house, after we had popcorn and soda, both of us was about to go to sleep in our sleeping bags, but then while we were in the living room, my best friend forgot to close the living room window. Then that's when, until we heard a scream coming from next door neighbor's house. Then me and my best friend went out the front door and walked over to my best friend's next door neighbor's house. We walked up to the front step and knocked on the front door. Then the front door opened, and this young woman said, "Hello, can I help you two boys with something?" And I said, "Yes, we heard scream coming from your house." Then the young woman smiled, and said, "That screaming you heard was our little girl having a screaming, crying fit because she lost her teddy bear. But but the young woman said, if you want, you can make sure everything's okay. You can come in and see for yourself." And I said to my best friend, "You stay outside and keep watch while I go inside and look for the little girl." Then my best friend said, okay, and I went look I went inside and looked in every room of the house, but I didn't find the little girl in their living room. I found a puddle of blood on their floor, and the puddle of blood left a trail all the way outside to the backyard. And when I went into the backyard, there was a young man standing over a grave. That was a young man digging a hole that put a dead body into the whole ground and covered the hole back up with a dead body inside the hole in the ground. And I saw the young man holding a shovel with his hands, and the shovel was had blood all over it. That's because the young woman was my new stepmom, and that young man was my dad, and also it works at a gravedigger, and that's Scream was my best friend, and what me and my best friend was my dad killing that little girl, because that little girl was that my dad killed was my little sister, and my dad is also the evil gravedigger. So after I left there, I told my best friend I needed to go home. He said, "Why, what's wrong?" And I said, "The next door neighbor just killed his little girl, and his wife did nothing to stop him. And they took her body and buried it in the backyard. And the worst thing is, he killed her with a shovel, and your next door neighbor works as a grave digger." And then I waved goodbye to my best friend, and then I went home. When I got home, Mom was sleeping in her bedroom, so I went outside to the backyard, and I saw my mom had buried something in the backyard, so I took a shovel and started to dig it up with a shovel. Whatever my mom buried in the backyard, I once I unburied. Whatever my mom had buried in the backyard, once I saw what my mom had buried in our backyard. It was the little girl's teddy bear that she lost, and that I got killed by the evil gravedigger, who is my father, and the little girl who got killed by my dad is my little sister. So I took the teddy bear and I cleaned it off, and then I went out the front door with the teddy bear. So I had broken into my dad's house with the teddy bear and got into the backyard. with the teddy bear. So I walked through my dad's house and get to the back door that leads to the backyard. When I got to the back door that leads to the backyard, once I got to the backyard, I was crying for a while. Then I set her teddy bear next to her grave in my dad's backyard. Then, before my dad came home, I went back home and went to my bedroom and fell asleep. When I woken up the next day, there was a note written in blood and thanking me for finding her lost teddy bear, and next to it was a black rose. Then I called my mother down the bedroom, but she didn't. When I yelled for her, she didn't answer. So I went upstairs to her bedroom and I uncovered her bed sheets, and I didn't see my mom. I saw a skeleton, and my dad the gravedigger had killed my mother, and now my dead sister's spirit left me a black rose. And that means when you get a black rose, it means your death is coming your way. So I got a black rose from my dead sister's spirit, so that means death is on its way to me. It's just a matter of time. When it will happen to me. But that's a whole other story now, isn't it? The end. This is the picture. Thank you. I have one more story for you, and press likes if you like my story. This is called The Nightmare. Once this husband and wife were married for a long time. Then the married husband and wife were now an old man and an old woman. An old man and old woman. Then the old woman got into a car and went for a drive at night. Meanwhile, back at the old man's house, he went to take a nap in their bed. While the old man was napping, he was having a nightmare about someone he loves about to die. Then in the old man's nightmare, he sees his wife happy, but when his cell phone was ringing in his nightmare, it's his wife crying over the phone, asking him why didn't he not come home from driving around in his car. Then he tried to tell her, "You are the one that's driving around," and he didn't come home. Then when he woken up in the middle of the night crying for his wife. Then he sees the blood all over his bed, and then he felt his bed, and then blood that was covering his whole bed. It was still wet, and then the next to bloody bed was a axe covered in blood. And then two bloody hands came up from the bloody bed and pulled him into the bed. Then the old man made a wish. He wished that he crashed into the car. He crashed the car into a tree and died, instead of his wife crashing the car into the tree and died. So the next night, in the middle of the night, the old man went for a drive in the car and crashed into a tree and died. His wife was crying over his grave, but just about he walked away, then his wife saw what looked like a skeleton with red eyes, but then the skeleton with red eyes was gone. Then, no, he grabbed her, he gave her a black rose. Then she knew she was next to die all over again, because the nightmare is just starting from the beginning again. The end. And this is the picture. Thank you for watching Nikki's channel, and tune in for the next time. And remember to press the likes, and remember, this is not for children, and goodbye.